Hey guys, welcome back. So today's video is going to be an updated brow routine. So I've been doing my brows a little bit differently recently and you guys have been noticing. So I wanted to do an updated video because I feel like it's been like 3 years or something like that since I did a brow tutorial. But anyways, in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys how I groom them at home, which I thought was perfect timing considering all of like the brow salons right now are like closed down, or at least they are in New York State. I'm not sure about other states right now, but in light of recent events, maybe now is a good time to learn how to groom them at home. So I'm obviously not a professional. If you are an esthetician or whatever, you're probably gonna cringe at this video, but I'm just going to be sharing with you guys what works for me. And honestly, sometimes I feel like watching an amateur is more helpful than watching a professional, because professionals are very like, I don't know, sometimes it's just like, what? Can you go back? I'm not understanding, because they know exactly what they're doing, and sometimes it's just harder to follow. I don't know if that makes sense. But like I said, I'm not a professional. This is just what works for me. So I'm going to be sharing the grooming and then also how I fill them in and get this kind of like fluffy brow look, which I've been very into. It's very like supermodel-like, and I've been loving it. So that's what we're doing today. Also, I wanted to say really quickly that I have had my brows laminated in the past. Brow lamination is super like trending right now. And at the end of the video, I touch on and do like a little mini review and my thoughts on it. If you guys have been wanting an update on that, make sure to stay tuned till the end of the video for more info. And yeah, let's just get started. Okay, so I'm gonna start off with grooming, and I have been waxing my brows at home for literally like over 15 years. I've been doing it. So every once in a while, like when I go to get my eyelashes lifted or I go to get my brows laminated, I will have my girl like touch up my brows and just shape them while I'm there. But otherwise, in between that, I do all of my own maintenance. So I do have several videos on my channel showing how I use this Sally Hansen wax strip kit, but right now I feel like it's a good time to reshare it and refresh you guys because I still love it. And yeah, so let's see in here. Okay, so it seems as though they have decided to redesign my favorite product and change it completely. So yeah, I picked up a box of this like not too long ago because I knew I was running low on my old box. I feel like one box lasts me like years, like it lasts me a really long time. So anyways, they decided to redo this. So I guess we will try to use these strips. Normally they're like clear plastic ones, but I guess we have to use these now. Okay, what else is in here? I guess they also have numbing wipes. I am a grown-ass woman, so I don't need those wipes. I feel like tweezing hurts more than waxing. And then they have these, which normally it comes with a little bottle of the finishing oil. This is weird. Okay, well, I guess this will be a brand new tutorial because I am not familiar with these. So I'm gonna take one of the smaller strips, and basically what I do, oh my God, this is making it so difficult for me. They used to be clear and then I could just trace through, but now they're like not clear. What's the word? Semi-opaque. Basically, what you need to do is just look at your brow shape through there. Dude, this is not going to work for people without dark hair. So normally I just go under there and trace the shape of my eyebrow, and then I cut along that shape. So I was still able to do it. Then once I have the shape, I just put it underneath my brow. And then I smooth it down. And then I hold my face and rip away. So it still worked for the most part, got rid of the hair. Then I just take the other side of the strip, place it down on the other brow, and do the same thing. Press it down, and then rip away. Then with what's left with that strip, I usually just cut a little square at the end, and then you'll have something like this. And then I use this to do in between my brows. I just place it like this, press it down, rip it, press it down again, rip it real good. And then the other side. So it still works just as good as the other kind. The wax is nice and it doesn't involve any heating anything up, doesn't burn your skin, it never irritates my skin. That's one thing I notice when I get them done professionally, that my skin is always really irritated afterward. Now I'm just gonna brush them down, and you can wax above here, and I used to do that, but now I just don't really. And sometimes I find when I wax above here, my foundation just goes on weird right there because there's no hair there, and then on the rest of my face I obviously do still have hair because I don't wax my whole face. So I like to just shave that part, and I'm just gonna take one of these little razors. This is from, I think, Tweezerman, and then I would just go in and shave any random stray hairs up there. Next, I'm gonna go in with some scissors, and these are from Tweezerman. And I'm just gonna brush up my brows a little bit so I can see any really long scraggly hairs and trim them down. And any of them that are sticking up like out of the brow shape, I just cut those. And it's important not to cut the front too short because then it gets really weird looking. I would always rather they be too long than, you know, too short and stubby and weird. Then same thing on the other side. I take my scissors and I flip them around this way and go this way. Otherwise, it doesn't like cut them the right angle. All right, so I'm just gonna take a brush and get rid of all of the excess hair. Then I'm just gonna go in with my tweezers and get rid of any stray hairs that I might have mixed with the wax. So I'm back. I removed the residue from the residue remover wipes, and then I did a full face of makeup and this brow. So I'm going to be showing you guys how to do this brow on camera. My favorite brow product of the moment has been this one from Urban Decay. So this is the brow blade, and I use the shade Neutral Nana. So one side is a pencil, and then the other side is a pen. This little very fine tipped pen. So I really like this one. I also tried the Glossier Brow Flick, but that one, I don't know, for some reason I couldn't find a shade that worked for me. They were either too dark or too light or too warm tone. So I really ended up liking this one from Urban Decay the best. And first I'm going to brush up my brows so they are into the shape that I want them to be. That way you can see where the gaps are and the sparseness is, and you can fill in accordingly. So I first go in with the pencil side, and I'm going to go underneath my brow and kind of underline it, but you want to make sure to use really small strokes because if you do one fluid line, it can look harsh. So going underneath first, and I like to make my brow arch a little bit straighter than I used to, so and then in the front, I do very, 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 very light. So you can use a different lighter shade to do the front of your brow, but I feel like I don't personally need to because I have hair there. But if you don't have hair there, or if you don't have a lot of hair there, then I would suggest going in with a lighter shade of your brow pencil for the front. So I'm just doing a very, very light amount in the front. The only thing I don't like about this is that there's no spoolie attached, so I have to keep grabbing one, but that's fine. So now I'm just brushing up and kind of blending that out a little bit. Then what I like to do is brush down the top. So if you have like thicker or bushier brows like me, you definitely want to brush down, because if you try to do the top part, you're going to get little gaps and you're going to miss spots and it's not going to lay as evenly. So you definitely want to brush down. Then I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing and do small little strokes and just kind of outlining the shape. And I stop where the front of the brow is because I don't want it there at the top. And so for the top of the arch, what I do is I take like the tip of my nose and I cross it right through the pupil of my eye and then put a little marker there. So that's how I know where I want my arch to be. So again, just put it at the tip, cross it through your pupil, and then that's kind of like a guide. And then I'm just filling in the tail. And the tail you want to be from like the outside of your nostril and going to the outer corner of your eye. And that's like where it should end. So that's kind of how I adjust it. And then for the front of the brow, some people like to take it in farther to make their nose look smaller, but I like to go to like the edge of the ball of the tip of my nose and then line it up that way. So I don't want it to go in any farther than that. Then I go through and brush that down. And again, if you see any gaps, you can kind of just go back in with your pencil and fill them in there. You'll notice as I like blend out with my spoolie, it takes away some of the product and blends it away, which is fine because I like the pencil part to be kind of like the base and in the background creating the shadow. And then I go in with the pen side to create little strokes. Then I'll go in with the pen side. And so this you can use to create little hair-like strokes in any spots that you have sparseness. So I'm gonna go in underneath my arch because as you guys saw, I had to kind of like fill it in a little bit to make it a little bit more straight. So I'm gonna go in with this and just do little tiny strokes. And you want the strokes to go in the direction of which the hair is going. So I'm going upward and flicking upward. And you wanna do really, really light pressure with this. And I also kind of like to just take it and do like random strokes throughout the brow. And doing that kind of makes it look a little bit more three-dimensional and not so flat because I like my brows to look very natural. Like I don't want them to look like that perfect ombre brow. Like I want them to look like real brows. You know what I'm saying? Then I'm going out through the tail and doing strokes there. And then same thing for the top. I like to add in a few little strokes at the top to get it looking like real hair is growing there. I also find that by layering the pencil with the pen, you get the product to last longer on the skin. Like out here, I just have like bare skin and a lot of the times pencil won't stay there all day for me. So layering the pencil with the pen, it really lasts. So right here, I have like no hair, so I'll do like one little tiny stroke, but again, you have to do very, very, very light pressure. Otherwise, it can look angry real quick. And the last step is to go in and set. So there are a few things that I like to use on really lazy brow days where I don't do anything. I like to go in with the e.l.f. Wow Brow, which is kind of like a dupe for Benefit Gimme Brow, but I personally find that it's better. And this I have in the shade Neutral Brown, so that will add a little bit of tint to my brow hairs. Another product that I like is the Benefit Ready Set Brow. This is really good. It keeps your hair in place all day. It does have a little bit of a crunchy feel, which I don't love about it, but it has really, really amazing hold. And then the last product is this one from Iconic London, which is their Brow Silk. And this is kind of like a take on soap brows. It's like this waxy substance that you brush through your brows, and you can use this wet or dry. Some people like to spray it first with some like setting spray or some sort of mist to get it a little bit more wet, but I like to just use it dry with a spoolie. So I just go in with a spoolie. I like to use a spoolie, not the same one that I'm using throughout this because I don't want this to get tons of product on it. And then I just go in and I brush up. So I really just like how this makes my brows look really fluffy and almost like supermodel-y. I feel like supermodels always have that like really nice fluffy, feathery, bushy brow. So yeah, all you have to do is brush up. And then I go in with my finger and I kind of just go over it. So this I learned from Nikki Makeup on Instagram. I think that's what her name is. She always does like soap brows, and I don't have silk brows, I have the brow silk, which I love, and she goes over with her finger just so they lay down in place and it gets rid of any excess product on the brow hairs. Okay, and then we have one last and final step, and I don't always do this if I have extra time or if I feel like I really need it, then I will do it, and that is cleaning up underneath and around. So I know a lot of people use concealer for this, but I feel like that makes it look a little bit too perfect, and then you have to blend the concealer, and I don't know, I just feel like it's a process. So what I like to do is take a brush like this. This is a line definer brush from Doll 10. You just want something very stiff and flat, and I go in with just a cream bone eyeshadow. This is from Too Faced Born This Way palette, and I apply a good amount to my brush and I kind of chisel them out that way. So this is a lot more subtle, natural looking, and overall easier in my opinion. And it still kind of gives you that same effect. So that's what I like. I feel like the brush is what's most important here. You want something really flat and thin to get that nice carved out edge. So like I said, I don't always do this, but if I have extra time or if I feel like I messed up, then I go in with this. So here is the finished result. I feel like they look pretty good. They look pretty similar. And I will be honest with you, I'm not a fan of the whole phrase eyebrows are sisters, not twins, or they're cousins, whatever. I'm not into it. That's not what you want to be striving for, because sometimes people look nothing like their sisters, okay? You want to at least strive for fraternal twins, Mary-Kate and Ashley. Like they look, you know, generally similar, but not exactly the same. Like you can spot subtle differences, but you want to strive for a Mary-Kate and Ashley brow. So just saying, I don't know, maybe that's an unpopular opinion, but I'm gonna zoom you guys out really quick and I'm going to talk about brow lamination before I wrap up the video. So brow lamination is basically like a perm for your eyebrows. It keeps them in place and, you know, up and lifted. So wherever you brush them to, they're gonna stay that way. So it's really good if you have like unruly brow hairs or if you just wanna make your brows look thicker and fuller. Overall, my experience with it has been pretty good. I really liked it, especially before I went on vacation. I had it done and it just made my life so much easier. All I had to do was brush through my brows or put some brow gel in and I was good to go. And then when I actually did want to fill them in, it took me like 2 seconds because you just have to fill in the little gaps and it's just great. But the only thing I will say personally for me, I still had to use brow gel because like I'm a face toucher, or if I'm like changing my clothes, they would get all funky and stay in that position instead of the position that I wanted them to. So I don't know if that was just me, but that was my personal experience. The other thing for me was I felt like it dried out my brows a little bit. So I have very like dry brow skin, and then when I had the lamination done, the brows themselves just felt like a little bit different in texture, so that's something to keep in mind. And then lastly, I feel like it didn't last that long. So for me, I've had it done like a little over a month now and the results are pretty much gone. So I don't think it's as long lasting as a lot of people say, but I think it also depends on the growth of your brow hair. So my brows grow really fast. So like at like the 5-week mark, I'm pretty much all done with my results. So that is a quick little rundown. What else did I want to say? Oh, brow tinting. I have a video on my channel that shows how I tint my brows at home. I no longer do that, but only because I don't have super dark hair anymore. So I used to dye my hair black and I felt like I needed to tint my brows because it just kind of looked off when I had no makeup on. So if you're someone who's looking to tint their brows, I will link that video for you guys. But I still do stand by that and I did it for years. But yeah, that is going to wrap up this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys use for your brows. I feel like there's so many things that you can use, like pencils, powders, pomades, gels, microblading, all of that. So let me know what your brow tool or brow product of choice is in the comments below. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching and I'll see you guys in my next video.
This is a sign that I need Botox. I should not be able to have this much movement in my brows. Why am I even wearing a bra? This just seems very unnecessary for me. Sorry, but it's just so uncomfortable. I don't know why I would ever be doing that. And I don't know how or why there's these people out there telling you to, I mean, I know get dressed up to work from home, but if you're putting on jeans to stand on your couch, you are not okay. You're not okay. You're not going to be okay. That's not going to make you happy in life. It's not. That's not the answer. Wearing jeans at home for no reason, it's not the answer.